and they were singing a hymn, Jesus, Call Thou Me. And the second stanza says, not Jerusalem, lowly Bethlehem, 'twas that gave us Christ to save us. It was then that the Count officially christened the settlement here Bethlehem.
The thing that made the Moravians unique in colonial America would have been that they really came here not to escape religious persecution, but to carry out a mission.
The Moravians set out to convert Native Americans and share their religion with other Europeans in the New World. This painting from 1862, called The Power of Gospel, portrays a strong image of one Moravian's missionary work. David Zeisberger preached around a Native American campfire. You can see from the facial expressions, some accepted the teachings, others did not.
They were fairly successful in their outreach to the Native Americans because they were able to show them and teach them by example how to live as Christians.
Today, over 800,000 members make up the worldwide Moravian Church. About 3,300 practice their faith in Bethlehem.
The Moravian Church's role in Bethlehem continues to be strong. It is strong in the individual congregations that are a part of the Bethlehem Moravians.
We are pulled together and defined as the Moravian Church by our chief elder, Jesus Christ.
On this day, Blair Couch, a Moravian bishop, leads a special service. She's a direct descendant of Nicholas von Zinzendorf.
I do have a sense of pride, and I do have a very, very deep sense of connection to the Moravian Church worldwide, and particularly the Moravian Church in Bethlehem because of that.
She says she's also noticed a prominent feature passed down through her family line.
I realize that when I look at pictures of Count Zinzendorf, the nose is the resemblance. There is actually a feature that yes, genetically is passed down in the family.
Eternal God, in wisdom you govern all things.
Blair conducts a rare service, the consecration of another female minister. While there aren't many women in this role, Blair thinks Zinzendorf would approve.
Zinzendorf would have been excited. Zinzendorf had a theology that the Holy Spirit was mother, so that the Trinity was kind of complete. And so he had a very strong understanding of the feminine in the Godhead and the role that women certainly ought to play in the church.
But in the early days, Moravian men and women lived very separate lives. They lived according to a choir system. Men, women, and children were divided based on their gender, age, and marital status.
It was a way of having each person feel comfortable with their own people that were very much like themselves.
Single women lived in the sister's house. Some married couples stayed in the Bell house and Gemein house. Widows moved into this home. And single men lived here, in the Brethren's house.
They not only resided in there, but they had various work areas in there, like a tailor shop and a cobbler shop, and even a bell foundry for a time was located in there.
Over time, about 36 slaves lived with the Moravians in Bethlehem.
The slaves worked among the Moravians as equal sisters and brothers. They had same requirements, religious prayer, because there was an intercession that they had to continuously pray, and they would assign the slaves those sorts of things as they would the Europeans.
In life and death, Moravians treated people with respect. They buried the slaves right beside other church members here at God's Acre.
Most cemeteries in this country were segregated. They had Native Americans, African Americans, and the Europeans all interspersed, intermingled is the word they use there, and that is so very important.
As head of the historic Bethlehem Partnership, Charlene Dunches-Mowers is passionate about preserving the city's history.
We have such a unique story, and it's important to learn about the past to help inform the future. We have to understand where we came from, to understand and prepare for where we are going. I just can't imagine what it would be like to have been one of the Moravians walking the streets in 1740s and then come back today to see what has happened to our town. And I think they would be thrilled and delighted to see that we have tried to keep the key parts of their community.
One of those keys, education. Soon after the Moravians founded Bethlehem, they formed schools.
The Moravians believed that everyone should be educated, not just the sons of the wealthy, and felt very strongly that women should be educated as well as the men because the women were the first teachers of the children.
In 1742, the Moravians founded the oldest girls' school in the original 13 colonies. The girls were actually getting the same education as the boys, which was an earth-shattering concept at the time.
The girls were learning foreign languages, were learning mathematics and sciences just as the boys were. In addition to that, the girls were learning fine needlework and boys were learning a trade.
Today, Moravian Academy continues to educate girls and boys. Moravian College also started in 1742. It is America's 6th oldest college. The Moravians' educational efforts impressed visitors like George Washington and John Adams.
George Washington was so impressed with the school that he petitioned to have his nieces come to school here. And John Adams wrote extensively to Abigail about his experiences in Bethlehem.
What remains of one of the earliest pharmacies in the New World is now housed at the rear of 420 Main Street. It first opened in 1743. Another Moravian first still beckons shoppers through its doors. The Moravian Bookshop, America's oldest bookstore, opened in 1745. Today, books, Christmas ornaments, and much more fill the shelves. But its Moravian stars remain some of the store's most cherished items. This star's roots trace back to Germany. A group of boys in the mid-1800s working on a geometry lesson in Niesky created this 26-point star.
It's also known as an Advent star because it's the first and only decoration that Moravians hang in their churches on the first Sunday of Advent.
But these days, you don't have to wait for the holidays to display a Moravian star. They hang from many doorways year-round. Early on, Moravians made stars and much more. Men worked on their crafts, while the women did household chores like gardening and cooking for the community. Aromas from steaming vegetables, baking breads, and more filled the countryside. The flames of the kitchen's fire helped keep the women warm during the fall and winter months.
This is what our foremothers did, and they did it for their families, they did it to survive, and so it's nice to be able to experience that and appreciate it, because we wouldn't be here if they didn't have the strength to get it done.
It was a hard life, but you know, the Germans, particularly Moravians, were hard-working people. Not only do they work hard, they built well. They farmed well. Their farms were some of the finest in the whole colonies.
Here at the Moravian Archives, you'll find thousands of memoirs and volumes of diaries. They kept very detailed daily accounts. This entry was written in 1743. On Saturday, the 8th, we observed our Sabbath rest. And since we have so much physical work, which is particularly strenuous and hard at present due to the mill and the like, one gives thanks to the land for this. It is happy both when at rest and at work. Everyone pitched in. School-aged girls shucked peas, while younger children entertained themselves with handmade toys. Here the girls played a game of graces, sending the whirling hoops toward each other and catching them with a stick. The boys race hoops. The children run and play on this farm established in 1748 by Irish immigrant James Burnside, who joined the Moravian Church. Originally, his land spanned 500 acres. Today, it's a 6.5-acre open-air museum. Randy Lalonde portrays James Burnside. He's just one of dozens of volunteers at the plantation.
So as you walk back that lane, it's so easy to feel like you're stepping back 200 years in history. And it's neat, I think, to think right in the middle of a city.
Business at Bethlehem Steel actually brought Randy to Bethlehem in the early 80s. Little did he know he'd soon call it home.
I fell in love with it because of what they do have here. And the fact that they built things, they built them to last. And they're built so well.
Randy didn't just fall in love with the town, he also fell in love with Betsy. On this day, they enjoy a horse-drawn carriage ride down Main Street. 25 years ago, some friends set them up.
We had a wonderful evening and made arrangements to see each other the next night, and then really just found that we had an awful lot in common and shared the same values.
Randy and Betsy each had 3 children from previous marriages and formed a Brady Bunch of sorts. Now the family's grown to include 11 grandchildren. The Moravian values appeal to the Leylauds.
They had a strong feeling with respect to building children's character, that you have to teach children about integrity and honesty and not being selfish. That, combined with a fellowship of people in this community that have just become dear and lasting friends, has just made Bethlehem my home.
A home where Randy enjoys portraying an important part of the city's past.
I do enjoy getting dressed up in colonial attire. And I like to show the people about the type of clothing I'm wearing, the fact I'm wearing shoes, that there's no left or right, and the fact that they're not very comfortable.
But Betsy and Randy say they found the perfect fit in each other and in this town. They're like many folks who relocated to the area. Today, many say a thriving yet quaint business district is one of its main attractions. But business bustled here even during the 18th century. At that time, Bethlehem operated as a general economy controlled by the Moravian Church. Everyone worked for the community, and in return, people received what they needed. No more, no less.
The whole idea was that you were working as a part of an organization for the greater good and the better good, and of course to support the mission.
From this vantage point, we're overlooking an area that is now called the Colonial Industrial Quarter. I like to refer to it as America's first industrial park, because just 4 years after Bethlehem was founded, there were 35 thriving trades, craft, and industries here. It was the largest collection of pre-industrial revolution industries in the colonies.
Many consider this foreshadowing. A little later, you'll see why some people say industrial parks actually saved this city. But back in the industrial park of the 1700s, one of the thriving trades was blacksmithing. This shop stands on its original foundation, built in 1751.
The blacksmith in those days made anything and everything that you made out of metal. You came here to the shop. If it was tires for your wagon, if it was parts for your wheelbarrow, if it's hose, it's axe, all the tools necessary for the American colony, they were done in this shop here. You can look at the buildings and see the workmanship of the early blacksmiths. The door handles, the hinges, the locks, things that the church, all of these things that the community had are still here.
This community was extremely industrious, very well educated, and very musical, and had a very high level of health care. That wasn't happening in New York or Boston or Philadelphia.
By the mid-1700s, Bethlehem's landscape began to change. Dozens of buildings dotted the area. Streets were officially named, and our nation's first public water system was built.
It is a National Historic Landmark, and it was quite a feat of engineering, pumping water up this steep hill from the natural spring that was down below, through log pipes originally, into a collecting tower that stood more or less where the large church building now stands, and then the water flowed into stone cisterns behind the various buildings.
Bethlehem became known for its hospitality, too. The Sun Inn, built in 1758, welcomed many travelers.
The Sun Inn was one of the best places to stay north of Philadelphia that you could find in North America in those days, because it was very well run, very well maintained.
The names penned in this guest book read like a who's who among our nation's founding fathers. George Washington, Alexander Hamilton, John Jay, and John Hancock. John Adams called it the best inn he ever saw. By 1762, the Moravians stopped living in a general economy. This was about the time Americans began fighting for their independence. The Moravians didn't fight in the war, but supported Washington and his troops. Remember the Brethren's House? Twice during the American Revolution, the building became the Continental Army's official hospital. On September 21st, 1777, there were more than 400 wounded soldiers here. When the war ended, America gained its independence, and the colonies focused on creating a new country. The Moravians looked toward the future, too. The group built a new church in 1803, one that still stands.
It was the largest house of worship, they believe, in Pennsylvania when it was built because it seats up to 1,500. But there were only about 500 people living here at that point. And the sanctuary inside is pillar-free, so every seat's a good seat. And they managed to do that and support the big belfry on top there by making the foundation walls of that building 6 feet thick.
It is a place that is central for worship, first of all, for music, and for the accommodation of many groups who are going to maintain the spirit and the dignity of this wonderful setting.
Doug Caldwell serves as Central Moravian Church's senior pastor. He and his wife, Barbara, live nearby. When they have time, they enjoy a good game of Scrabble. The two carefully select their words, but don't have to think too hard when they talk about the reasons they've come to love living in Bethlehem.
My wife and I have been here for over 40 years, and we love Bethlehem, and we love so many of the people who help make it a great city.
Bethlehem is just the greatest place in the world. I think it's just the most wonderful community. It has a quality of life that I've never seen anywhere else.
The Caldwells understand the history of this church. They point out that the belfry houses the oldest continuing town clock in the U.S., and it's still home to monthly visits by the trombone choir. In 1754, this choir was the first of its kind in America.
The trombone choir would play early in the morning to wake the members of the community up, and they would announce the deaths in the community. The trombones would be involved with the funeral services. They would walk in the procession to the graveyard, to God's Acre. They were very important.
Overall, music played a huge role in the Moravian church.
A traditional Moravian church service consists of singing by the congregation, by the choir. Moravians had their own musicians who composed music.
In 1829, another important development spurred additional growth when Bethlehem's portion of the Lehigh Canal opened.
Manufactured goods from all over America and all over the world could come into Bethlehem for the first time because the canal was the primary means of transportation. It's like having a superhighway in the 1950s suddenly coming into your town and linking you with the outside world.
The canal is really just the first step. And one of the things that the canal does is it brings Philadelphia entrepreneurs and Philadelphia money being interested in developing the Lehigh Valley region.
Bethlehem incorporated as a borough in 1845. About 900 people lived here then. At that time, it was much smaller than our two neighboring cities. Over 4,000 people lived in Easton, and close to 2,500 called Allentown home.
The Moravian Church steps back from being both the spiritual and municipal authority and just begins to tend their own people.
In the mid-1800s, South Bethlehem became a hub of activity thanks to two entrepreneurs, Asa Packer and Robert Sayre. They helped establish the Lehigh Valley Railroad. In 1852, work started, and by 1855, the rail stretched from Mock Chunk to Easton.
In 1855, they decided to move the headquarters to South Bethlehem. And that's a tremendously important event for the history of this community because Packer brought with him a whole group of people, the Lindermans, the Sayres, the Wilburs.
Railroad building became the first major industry on Bethlehem's south side. Work in the newly formed Lehigh Zinc Company provided another major industry, followed by the iron works in the late 1850s. While the south side grew, there was unrest in the country. In 1861, America's Civil War began. Many residents, including the Moravians, joined the fight to save the Union. During this time, Robert Sayre focused on business. His Gothic Revival-style home was one of the many mansions in Bethlehem and Fountain Hill. Today, it's a bed and breakfast. Across the street from the mansion sits the Cathedral Church of the Nativity. Sayre donated money, along with many others, to start the church. In 1863, construction began, and the first service was held Christmas Day, 1864. In 1865, just down the road from the church, Asa Packer founded Lehigh University.
Packer just wanted to train bright young men to be engineers and gentlemen. And that might have been the influence of the Episcopal Church, that they weren't just going to train technocrats, that Lehigh was going to train engineers who also knew something about art and literature and philosophy and, you know, the bigger issues in life than just how to build a straight set of railroad tracks.
You'll see in this 1869 picture 5 young men from its first graduating class. These days, about 4,600 undergraduate students and 1,500 graduate students study here each year. These graduate students listen to Professor John Smith's lecture about early Bethlehem history.
Lehigh is certainly one of the major institutions here on the South Side. Employs lots of people, creates lots of life. We have lots of interesting restaurants and shops now here on the South Side. So, you know, it really is the kind of the core, I think, to the South Side community.
Another important South Side institution was founded shortly after the university's inception. In 1873, St. Luke's Hospital opened to care for injured industrial workers.
Before St. Luke's Hospital was built in Bethlehem, the injured workers had to be transported to Philadelphia for treatment. They would either go by train or by wagon. It took many hours to get to Philadelphia. Many of them died along the way. So establishing the hospital here in the community enabled the patients to have a better chance at survival.
Dr. William Estes became the hospital's first chief surgeon and superintendent in 1881. For the next 39 years, he helped shape the hospital. A nursing shortage prompted him to create St. Luke's Diploma School of Nursing, which continues today.
Dr. Estes established the school in 1884. We were the 4th diploma school of nursing in the United States. Since then, the other 3 have closed. So St. Luke's School of Nursing is today the oldest continuously operating school of nursing in the United States.
Today, St. Luke's Hospital and Health Network includes 4 hospitals, more than 42,000 annual admissions, more than 6,000 employees, and 1,000 volunteers. St. Luke's Regional Heart Center was ranked one of the nation's best heart hospitals for 7 consecutive years by U.S. News and World Report. Its success continues, and so does another Bethlehem tradition, the Bach Choir. Founded in 1898, it's the oldest Bach choir in the U.S. It presented the first American performance of the Mass in B minor on March 27, 1900, at the Central Moravian Church. Today, the Bach choir continues with 100 volunteer members. The choir's annual May Festival attracts thousands of visitors each year. Bach's extraordinary music transcends time and touches people's souls.
Good evening and welcome to PBS 39. We hope you're enjoying Communities Bethlehem. I'm Amy Burkett, joined by my colleague Erin Flynn, and we're very excited to be able to bring you this wonderful encore presentation of Communities Bethlehem. It's something the production team here at PBS 39 has spent the last year working on, and we hope that you enjoy it. So much more still to come, but we'd like to talk to you about membership to public television. It's because of members in the past that we've been able to put together Communities Bethlehem. And we'd like to encourage you right now, if you've never been a member of PBS 39, or perhaps you have, to renew your membership and get some great thank you gifts around this program.
That's right. The program you're enjoying right now, Communities Bethlehem, is part of a series that we have here at PBS 39. We did New Hope last year, and we're going to continue. We hope to continue to do this. For next year is Allentown, then Easton, and we hope to continue to get through all of the different areas here in our viewing area and preserve the wonderful history that we have. So if you're enjoying the program here tonight, give us your call, your pledge of support. You can see you can have a copy of DVD of the program you're watching for a pledge of $75. You'll be able to see the program in its entirety without Amy and I interrupting the program there on the DVD. We also have a couple of other levels for you. At the pledge of support of $100, you get the DVD and also a wonderful tile from Starbuck Goldner Tile, a company in Bethlehem that made this for us exclusively here at PBS 39. There's also a limited amount of these tiles, so it's important for you to call in early to make sure you get your hands on those as well.
So exciting, so many different opportunities. That's the $100 level, but you know what? Here's one that I like a lot, and it's the $150 level. This is for the folks who just have too many friends and you want to give a gift, or you need to add to your collection. You'll receive 2 DVDs. Now you can receive one of the program you're watching right now, Communities Bethlehem, and perhaps you're one of those rare people out there who does not have a copy of our Bethlehem Steel, The People Who Built America DVD. This is an Emmy Award-winning program that we created a few years back, and it is narrated by Harry Smith of CBS News. We're so excited. So you could have his colleague, Charles Osgood, who narrated the Communities Bethlehem program, and both well-known CBS voices lend their voice to both of these. So this is a great opportunity at that $150 level, and of course the tile is included. But if you have friends and relatives and you're all caught up on our DVD collection, you can enjoy 2 copies of Communities Bethlehem. Keep one for yourself, give one as a gift. Coming up in the program, you'll be learning about why they call this the Christmas City. You'll also hear a wonderful story about our friends at Just Born Candies. Music Fest is coming up. All the wonderful, interesting things that have happened. One of the interesting stories about the program, why this city differs a little bit from our friends in Allentown, and also what the future looks like. What are some of the plans for the future of Bethlehem? It's all coming up here. Please don't go anywhere, but we do need you to give us a call right now. Our friends at the Lehigh Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau are standing by to take your phone calls. If you use your Visa, MasterCard, Discover, or American Express, we'll have you on and off the phone very quickly and back on your comfy couch to watch the rest of the program.
That's right, and also you can log on to our website at WLVT.org and just click on the icons, and you can register just as easy through there, and it is safe and secure as well. So you can go to our website too. It has been so much fun putting this program together. As we mentioned, we have a team of people in our production department that work on this throughout the year, and we go out into the field and interview these wonderful people that we have on the program and talk to so many different historians and people, just everyday people that enjoy and love this city, and we get to learn so much, and then we're able to share those stories with everyone else through the power of TV and storytelling that we're so happy and so proud to be able to be a part of here at PBS.
We shot 50 hours worth of footage for this 1-hour documentary, so we were able to take just the best of the best and put together in this program. And there is a common theme. It's the people that make this community so special. Yes, we have many of America's firsts that happened here, which is something that most communities can't boast.
Right.
But we also have the largest collection of Germanic-style buildings anywhere in the country. Now, people think that happens in Williamsburg, Virginia, but not the case. Williamsburg's got nothing on Bethlehem.
It doesn't. And as you mentioned, so many firsts. The first pumping municipal water system, first girls' school. We've got, of course, the first Bach choir, first trombone choir. I mean, there are so
first
many...
bookshop.
Yes, the bookshop right there on Main Street, which we love. Always go in and stop
our friends at the Moravian
Yes.
bookstore, grab something to eat, check a book out.
Yep.
I mean, we love this rich community. And whether you work, live, or play in Bethlehem, Aaron and I are both transplants, but we're so very proud to call the Lehigh Valley home. And Eastern Pennsylvania and Western New Jersey are just filled with wonderful jewels of communities like Bethlehem. And here at PBS 39, we're committed to preserving the rich heritage of these great communities all up and down the East Coast that we're able to do, but we can't do it without your help. Your pledge of financial support goes toward producing the next local documentary. If you like this type of programming, you can't find it anywhere else. There is not another entity around, public television or otherwise, that is creating this type of living history, preserving the heritage. We're so committed to it. We love doing it. We were talking, I just celebrated 8 years here at PBS 39. Delighted. I was a young woman when I started here, Aaron.
Oh, and you still are.
Hard. God bless you. God bless you. But we're so excited to be on our 12th documentary here. Our series is growing, and we're so delighted that you've made that happen. Thank you to those of you. The phones are ringing, and we do appreciate it so very much. But we need to hear from you. If you're sitting on your couch thinking, I don't know, maybe I'll just set the VCR. You know, we want to encourage you. If you set the VCR, you get to live with Aaron and I forever.
And we know that, we're not as entertaining as the documentary.
Well, it tends to break up the flow of the documentary.
Yes.
So when you call in your pledge of financial support, the other exciting thing about that is that these documentaries are already in-house. So we're going to ship them out this week if we can. As quickly as possible, we will have these DVDs in your home so that you can enjoy them with your family, your friends, relatives come over, break it out. What a conversation piece. And we are delighted that it's narrated by Charles Osgood of CBS's Sunday Morning Show, which is a great program that both Aaron and I watch every Sunday morning. Yes. We enjoy talking about. Today I really enjoyed the clothing one. The story of the woman with all the clothes.
It's amazing the stories that they tell. And whenever you listen to Charles Osgood, I mean, it's just his voice. Especially, we're so happy that he donated his time and his voice to this documentary. And it just talks about the partnerships. And he realizes how important this is, too.
It is. It's about partnerships. And we have corporate sponsors like our wonderful friends at the Lehigh Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau, and we have individual members, and that's where you come in. There is no charge for public television. It's not part of your cable bill. It's not tacked on. We don't take your funds from you, but we ask that you would give your financial support. Over an annual membership, $75 comes out to just pennies a day to make sure that local productions, local living history programs like Communities Bethlehem stay on the air and are able to go out and create more, because that's what these dollars go toward. They go toward making the next program, which we're committed to doing, Communities Allentown, this time next year. And this is no lie. Aaron and I have our first production meeting for Communities Allentown Tuesday morning at 9 a.m.
That's right. It doesn't stop. It doesn't stop.
So there's no rest for the weary. We're working on the next program. And thanks to you, we're able to make that happen. We're so excited. We want to hear from you right now. Operators are standing by. If you get a busy signal, you may want to go to our website at WLVT.org. We're going to run over those numbers one more time, and then we have a special guest joining us. At that $75 level, you'll receive a copy of Communities Bethlehem, the program, our latest documentary here at PBS 39. At the $100 level, you'll receive the documentary in addition to this wonderful tile created exclusively for PBS 39. And then there's the $150 level. But you know what? I've got a special friend joining me right now, President of the Lehigh Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau. Mike Stershik is here. Mike, thank you so much.
Great to be here.
You were our first stop last year, and we just want to talk to you a little bit about what do you folks do at the Convention and Visitors Bureau?
Our job is to promote the Lehigh Valley as a visitor destination, get people to come here, have a good time, go home and tell all their friends and relatives to come here as well.
And now where do you market the Lehigh Valley to?
We market within about a 250-mile radius of the Lehigh Valley. Try to get people here within one gas tank round trip of the Lehigh Valley. That's really what we're all about.
A one-tank trip. Also, what made you want to support us financially? You were the first underwriter that came on board last year, and I was very appreciative.
We want people to know the story of the communities that we promote, and it's important that local people understand that story as well as visitors, and so it's important that the internal markets to the Lehigh Valley know what we all have to offer. A lot of people are new to the Lehigh Valley, or the people who are from here don't just know everything that there is to know. We all learn things through your documentary tonight, and it's great to know that. But the benefit also of having the potential for this to be seen throughout public television stations statewide is also great for us.
In the next couple of months, it'll air on all 8 public television stations throughout our Commonwealth. So we're very excited. Mike Stershik, and brought all your friends from the Lehigh Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau. We're so grateful for your support.
Thank you, and thank you for this great programming.
You know, it's so much fun, and we are grateful again for all of you who have tuned in this evening. You're seeing right there that $75 will get you a copy of the program you're watching this evening. $100 gets you the program, plus this beautiful commemorative tile that is made exclusively for PBS 39 by the Starbuck Goldner Tile Company in Bethlehem. We're very excited about this. You cannot get this anywhere else. So give us a call right now. That $100 level gets you both the program and the tile. $150. You can get 2 DVDs, right, Erin?
Yes, you can. You can get Communities Bethlehem at the program you're watching now, which we will return to in just a few moments. And if you're one of the few people, as Amy had mentioned before, that don't have Bethlehem Steel, the Bethlehem Steel documentary, this is your opportunity to get that. We also have, at the $150 level, the opportunity to get 2 copies of Communities Bethlehem. Maybe you're watching it tonight and you think, I really want a copy, and so does my sister, mother, brother, grandparents. This is your opportunity to surprise them with a wonderful gift, and of course the tile is included there.
You know, it's music to our ears when the phones ring, and we're so delighted, and we just want to thank you right now. Again, those great volunteers from the Lehigh Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau standing by to take your phone call as we head back to the second segment of Communities Bethlehem. Enjoy, and thank you again for your support of
During the early 1900s, music provided a much-needed rest from the backbreaking work in the steel mills and on the rails. In 1899, the Bethlehem Iron Company changed its name to Bethlehem Steel. In 1904, Charles Schwab took control.
Charles Schwab takes Bethlehem Steel to a whole new dimension. He changes it from just being a producer of rails and naval cannon to being one of the largest steelmakers in the United States, and among the largest in the world.
The steel provides the rock upon which other industries can grow. You always have to have a core industry which you can build out from. And that iron, later to become the steel, became the foundation point of a new city.
Bethlehem Steel provided an income for many families. While husbands and fathers went to work in the steel mill, women found work in the silk mills. From the early 1900s to the late 50s, the mills primarily produced ribbon, dress material, stockings, gloves, upholstery, umbrella fabric, and more.
We should make sure that goes by the Christmas tree.
Known as a silk expert in eastern Pennsylvania, Martha Capwell Fox and her mother reminisce about the silk mill their family owned, Catwar Incorporated. Pictures bring back fond memories for these two.
The height of the silk's golden age in this part of Pennsylvania, there were probably 8 or 9 mills. The names of the companies that owned them changed over time, but there was almost always silk business going on in all of them until about 1930. And some of them were just enormous buildings.
In the early 1900s, about 1,000 people worked in the Christmas City silk mills. Bethlehem Silk, the Lehigh Valley Silk Mill in Fountain Hill, and Arcelaros Silk were the largest mills.
The key to the mills that stayed in business after the silk industry began to decline around here in the early 30s were those who went into synthetics or branched into other types of products or who went into knitting.
But when the industry was thriving in the early 1900s, so was Bethlehem Steel. By 1917, West, North, and South Bethlehem merged into one city. Charles Schwab strongly supported the idea.
Charles Schwab was not a stupid man. He was a very bright man, sometimes a very arrogant man, but he was a very bright man, and he knew that the way you created a community was by merging people together.
I think the belief was that when the two Bethlehems merged, that the old ward politicians on the south side would be defeated in at-large elections by proper businessmen and other professional types from Bethlehem, and essentially the immigrant community in South Bethlehem would lose political power. And if you think about South Bethlehem as a community of only about 20,000 people, and if you have 50 or 60 different ethnic groups, that's a pretty high ratio, I think, of ethnic groups to people.
And the South Side was truly a mix, and you could find almost any group here on the South Side in the days when the steel was, booming, because that's what drew all the workforce.
Michael Charbach is now a Monsignor at St. Cyril and Methodius Church at the corner of Thomas and Buchanan Streets. He presides over Sunday Mass. His grandparents immigrated from Hungary. They'd heard from other relatives it was a good place to work. His grandmother felt the pangs of homesickness, but her father insisted she stay.
He told her no, she was here now. She had to work for 1 year, and then she could go home. Well, in that year, she met my grandfather, and all of a sudden perspective changed on a lot of things.
Many immigrants worked at Bethlehem Steel, but other businesses moved into the city and provided jobs too, like Just Born. In 1932, it made Bethlehem its home. The company got its start 9 years earlier when Sam Bourne opened a candy factory in Brooklyn, New York. Soon after he opened the business, he asked his brothers-in-law, Irv and Jack Schaffer, to join him. Thanks to a close relationship with his banker, the candy company survived the Great Depression. His banker paid Sam a visit on Thursday evening in October 1929 and said,
"Sam, I want you to take all of your money out of the bank tonight." Now, this was very confusing to my grandfather, but he ended up taking all of his money out from the business, from the bank, and he went home, and the next day the bank was closed.
Thanks to the warning, Sam had the means to stay in business during the Depression. It also allowed him to have enough money to put a down payment on the Bethlehem building that still houses Just Born.
And we started out with about 12 acres of ground and 107,000 square feet of facility. We hired at that time about 400 people, lots of hand work, chocolate dipping. We made almost every kind of candy imaginable in our factory.
Today, Ross Bourne and his cousin David Schaffer run the business.
We like to consider ourselves the sweetest people in the valley. We're using somewhere around 90 million pounds of sweeteners, that's corn syrup and sugar, on an annual basis. We are manufacturing somewhere around 5 million individual peeps every day.
So what is a peep exactly? There's nothing fancy about marshmallow peeps. The gooey marshmallow mixture gets cut into different shapes, coated with colored sugar, and decorated before sliding into their appropriate box and heading off to the shipping warehouse. In the 50s, peeps were hand-squeezed and took 27 hours to complete. Today, they're finished in 6 minutes. The company also makes Mike and Ike candy, hot tamales, and peanut chews.
The city of Bethlehem has very little to do with our brand development, but it has all to do with the kinds of people that are here. We have a wonderful workforce. We have some people that have been here for over 50 years.
Ross doesn't like to spend too much time behind his desk, but on this day, he takes care of some paperwork. The company continues to grow, and today, folks eat peeps all around the world.
We are an international company, and we are selling to a wide variety of countries, such as South Korea. We're opening up the Japanese market. We have had some work in China. We are now in Libya, Lebanon, Israel, England. We're actually in 51 different countries around the world.
When Just Born was figuring out its identity back in the 30s, so was the city. In 1935, the Star of Bethlehem was placed on South Mountain. Today, it has 246 light bulbs and acts as a beacon.
As far as we know, the star on South Mountain is the largest electrical star of its kind in the world.
In 1937, the Bethlehem Chamber of Commerce named Bethlehem Christmas City, USA.
Bethlehem didn't create Christmas, but Christmas created Bethlehem. Many people say they come to find the real meaning of Christmas when they come to Bethlehem. So certainly that star is a good beginning to that.
Madge is an expert on Bethlehem holiday traditions. She wrote Christmas in Bethlehem, a Moravian heritage.
The most visible tradition of the Moravians would be the single candle in every window. Many, many people use this quiet, dignified way of lighting their homes.
On Main Street, Christmas music plays. The Hotel Bethlehem dresses up its windows with wreaths and lights, much like the rest of the city's homes. 850 evergreen, 40,000 bulbs, Advent candles, and more turn the city into a winter wonderland.
It's just a great place to be at Christmas.
Guided by the shining star, tens of thousands of visitors come to Bethlehem to share in the community's Christmas traditions. For close to 30 years, this live annual Christmas pageant's been a part of Bethlehem's festivities, too.
It is a great deal of meaning because we celebrate a lot of things here in the Christmas city, but this to us is the real true meaning of Christmas.
We come up every Christmas just to get into the Christmas spirit, see all the live animals and all the nice people.
I grew up in a small town, and so we did Christmas pageants like this, never on this scale. And it was kind of a farm town, so we had farm animals. And it's always fun to see. And when I heard about it, I wanted to bring my daughter up so she could experience it too.
The story was about baby Jesus.
The Christmas City, we're so happy to be able to bring the Christmas City to life for everyone, and so many people enjoy the Christmas City year-round. Doesn't just have to be Christmas time for folks to enjoy this wonderful community that we were able to profile in this documentary, Communities Bethlehem. We hope you're enjoying the program, and we hope that you'll give us a call here tonight if you haven't already. First, we want to thank everyone that has given us a call or logged on to our website and pledged your support. See, this is important for us to be able to keep our production team working on these documentaries. So when you call in, your support lets us know that you're enjoying the program, and this is the only place you can get Communities Bethlehem. If you give us a call here this evening, you can receive your own copy of the program.
When you call in your pledge of financial support, we have lots of ways to say thank you, and we want to get to those right now. At that $75 pledge level, which again is an annual membership to PBS 39, you'll receive a copy, your very own copy of Communities Bethlehem, narrated by Charles Osgood of CBS Sunday Morning. He has a beautiful voice. He donated his time and his talent to PBS 39. It was a lot of fun. I met him in Manhattan at a sound studio, and we took the script for him to record, and it was fun to hear his reactions afterward. He has been to Bethlehem in the past, but hasn't been for several years, and he said he needs to get back to that community because it seems so special, and it's so close to Manhattan. It's a very quick jaunt back and forth, so even an outsider found this a very unique and very special place. And those of you who live here, are transplants like Aaron and I, or maybe you work or just like to play in Bethlehem, we'd like for you to have a copy of this for your archives at home, for your video collection. It's something special. It can't be found anywhere else. You can't buy it in the store. But when you call in that pledge of financial support, you'll know that you're doing something good for your community. You're supporting public television. We only do one local documentary a year that we pledge around, that we give this opportunity to our members to help us support. And we ask for that support so that we can create the next documentary.
That's right.
Communities Bethlehem is completed, and starting Tuesday morning, we start working on Communities Allentown. So we have the production meeting already scheduled, and we want to make that happen this time next year. We'll be talking about Allentown. Right now, though, Bethlehem, that $75 level, also at the $100 level, we'll send you something very, very special. Right, Erin?
That's right. Not only do you get a DVD copy of the program, you also get a tile from the Starbuck Golder tile. They made this exclusively for us. Limited edition, and also we have a limited amount. So the sooner you call, the better your chances are to get one of these wonderful tiles. It's very cute, very pretty, and also just goes with our theme here, Communities Bethlehem, the wonderful Bethlehem Star, that you're able to have your pledge of support of $100 here tonight. And we also have a couple of other levels for you as well. The $150 level, you get a copy of the program, the tile, and also if you don't have Bethlehem Steel, here's an opportunity to get that DVD too, to add to your collection. So you've got both. If you really enjoyed tonight's program and you think maybe someone else will too, you can give them a wonderful gift because you can get 2 copies of Communities Bethlehem also at the $150 level.
Lots of opportunities for you, and that's what it's all about. We want to partner with the wonderful organizations in our community to make these documentaries happen, but we also want to partner with you, one person at a time, one family at a time. If you're sitting out there in your comfy couch enjoying this program, and we so hope that you are, we ask that maybe you just move a little bit to head over to the phone to give us a call. If you use your Visa, MasterCard, Discover, or American Express, we can have you on and off the phone very quickly, back on that comfy couch, so that you can enjoy more of this evening's program. You won't miss anything. We're about to head back to the conclusion of the program. Yes. You Music Fest fans, we didn't forget about you. You're coming up, and we'll kind of walk down memory lane of how Music Fest got started, as well as the interesting parts of how technology has played a huge role in the economic success of the city of Bethlehem.
Yes, definitely, with the Ben Franklin Center there on Lehigh's campus. And we also look towards the future. What is going to happen in the future, especially on the south side? We know we're involved in having new studios built down there on the Bethlehem Steel site. So we explore those avenues as well. So not only do we talk about the past, we get into what the future is going to be for Bethlehem as well. So looking towards the past is always very important because you don't want to repeat the past if it's not a good thing. And towards the future, the possibilities are limitless, which is always exciting. And I think it's an exciting time to be here in this community right now.
You know, I am about to celebrate 12 years living in the Lehigh Valley. I am so old. And
she's not.
But it's so fun because I've seen things change. And as I've traveled around the country, there's no place else, Erin, that I'd rather live. And that's such a good feeling. You and I both have lived in several different states as we've been in television, commercial television. We've moved from state to state several times. But it's nice to feel like you're home. It's nice to not be looking to move to that next state. PBS 39 has given us that opportunity. If you have that sense of pride in this community, whether you were born and raised here or whether you're transplants like Aaron and I, we hope that you're taking the opportunity to get to know the wonderful treasures that Bethlehem has to offer. So many great things, so many firsts happened in Bethlehem. That's amazing to me. Growing up in the Midwest, firsts were not something that we talked about a lot because it didn't happen in Ohio. It happened here in Bethlehem. The first time there was water pumped anywhere. How exciting is that? Because we take it for granted as we turn on the tap and the water pours out.
We don't even think about it nowadays. And that's what I think is great when we talk about history is we do get to think about things we normally don't. That we just sort of take for granted. Also, the first girls' school was started here. Forward-thinking Moravians knew that it was important to educate women. Also, we had, the first Bach choir, the first bookstore, first trombone choir. I mean, there are so many firsts, as we have told you in this documentary. It's great. It's also great because I think you get to appreciate the city a little bit more when you're walking around. Or now, I know even folks told me, hey, I didn't even know that we could take a walking tour in Bethlehem. So it's opened their eyes to know, hey, this is something that I can do myself. We saw people in the documentary do it, and now we can go and, live just like the folks did that took the tour in the documentary. So we do hope that you call us here this evening and become members at PBS 39. It's so important for us to be out in the community and for the community to let us know that we're doing a good job here. Your pledge of support of $75 gets you a DVD copy of this program. That took us a year to produce. We cut it down from 50 hours to 1 hour. We really think that we captured the essence. That was our goal of the community, because we know there's so much more that could have been. I know I've had a lot of versions that were cut down, so but we're very happy with this, and we hope you are enjoying it too, which we will get back to in just a few moments. But we also have another level for you as well at the $100 level.
Right, at the $100 level, something very special, and we've never done this before. Please let us know if you enjoy it. It's an exclusive opportunity for you to not only get a copy of the DVD that you're watching right now, but you'll get this very special commemorative tile. It was created specifically for PBS 39, our community series. This is the Bethlehem Star. You cannot buy this in any store, and it was created by our friends at Starbuck Goldner Tile in Bethlehem. They're wonderful folks. They worked very closely with us so that we would be able to offer this to you. It is a limited edition, so when they're gone, they're gone.
That's right.
We want to make sure if you'd like this. It's a great tribute. It could be a collector's item in your home. It could be a very nice, hot plate if you want to use it as. You could use it as a variety of things. But it's something special about this community. Is this your community? Is this your home away from home? Mm-hmm. Is this the place where you live, work, or play? That makes it special. And we'd like to encourage you to give us a call right now. The wonderful volunteers from the Lehigh Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau are standing by to take your phone call. It only takes a couple of minutes. It's quick, it's safe, it's secure. But if you don't want to talk to anyone on the phone, you can head to the website. You can go over to your computer and type in WLVT.org, and you can receive all of the thank you gifts that we've talked about. It's very simple, and it's safe and secure. Many opportunities for you. We do want to hear from you right now, though. Please, there's a bit of a lull, and we need to hear your support. Your financial contribution is an annual membership here to PBS 39, and it tells us that, yes, we're glad that PBS 39 is the only media opportunity in our region preserving the living history.
That's right.
Right now, we're about to head back to more of Communities Bethlehem. This is the conclusion. It'll be your final opportunity to receive these great thank you gifts this evening. So we do hope you'll enjoy it. We're about to head back to the program right now. Thank you to all of you who called in your pledge of financial support. Operators will be standing by, though, if you'd like to give us a call.
Not far from the pageant, white lights sparkle on Main Street, while Bethlehem's south side is known for its colorful holiday displays.
Hungarian or Polish or Irish or English or Slovenes, which we know locally as Windish, or Czechs, Slovaks, the many nationalities, Mexicans, Puerto Ricans, they all brought their own Christmas traditions with them, which they cherish.
Christmas traditions help people feel at home. But every Sunday, many immigrants felt most comfortable at church, where they could hear their native language spoken.
The churches here were often the bedrock on which these communities developed here on the south side. And they were, in many ways, the institutions that would gather newcomers.
Holy Ghost Church on Carlton Avenue, rooted in German traditions, provided a home away from home for people like Helen Maurer. She immigrated from Germany in 1952.
And then on our church's feast day, the choir, the men's choir, sang, "Wenn die Himmel sich rühmen." My tears just rolled out of my eyes. And I just felt at home in a church because I could understand the church, and the high mass used to be in German.
Today, only certain hymns are German.
I love them when they sing the German hymns. I sing as loud as I can. I do love them.
While Germans attended Mass at Holy Ghost, Slovaks made St. Cyril and Methodius their home.
I come down over here at 21 years old, you know. Well, my relative belonged to this church. My probably father working at this when they built this church.
Oh, I feel just like I would be home in Europe.
Ismael Rodriguez has been coming to Mass at Holy Infancy since he moved from Puerto Rico in the early 1950s. He worked for the railroad for 37 years. Today, he plays dominoes with many of the friends he made when he first arrived in this country.
People, they ask me, they say, what are you doing? I said, well, I had a job. They said, what's your job? I'm supervisor the domino there. And they laugh about, you know, because that's a lie.
We treat each other like brothers. I have friends over here that are been better to me than my own family.
Ismael got a job in the coke works at Bethlehem Steel. He worked long hours in tough conditions, but the money he earned provided a better life for his family.
And I was glad I came over here to make my life, because I don't think I could have lived in the way I live in Puerto Rico and the way I live over here.
We have all kind of opportunity here, and it was great.
The WFIL stations are indeed proud to salute Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. This is a great city stretching its economic muscles with determined vigor. Bethlehem is one of the fastest growing cities in this Commonwealth.
Things bustled in Bethlehem in the 60s.
80,000 people live in Bethlehem. Most of them prosper. In the heart of the Lehigh Valley, the city throbs with ambition.
Bulldozers and backhoes worked to make room for a city hall. Bethlehem's mayor at the time, Gordon Payro, talks about the city's future.
What is tomorrow for Bethlehem? Bethlehem has a lot to look forward to. A new city hall, a new public safety building, a new public library, new development of streets, new bridges, the attraction of new industry in our community to diversify Bethlehem to a broad, great, economical future.
Gordon served 3 terms as Bethlehem's mayor, from 1962 to 1974. Gordy Maurer succeeded him. He grew up on Bethlehem's north side. His father started Maurer's Dairy in 1928.
People had their milk delivered at their home, not buying it at the grocery store, not having to carry it in those days. And our drivers would come in at 2 or 3 in the morning and fill their trucks up and go out and deliver them, so that in the morning at breakfast time, everybody would have their milk.
Maurer's made ice cream, too. At one point, there were 17 stores, or cups. You can still get ice cream where the original one stood on Linden Street. His family sold the business in 1954 to Fairmont Foods. But Gordy still brings his kids and grandkids here for tasty treats.
People would come from everywhere. They would line up all around the area, and then they would sit down in the green grass in front or the tables we had set up, particularly after a sports event at Liberty High School, because we're only a block away from Liberty High School. They, to this day, still walk up to the cup, and you run into other people you know, and you have a chat, and it was a social kind of time together.
The Maurer family didn't just serve up ice cream cones. They got involved in community affairs, too.
I think Bethlehem's a great city. Do you? And it's a great city because we have great people within it.
When Gordy became mayor, he had a tough job ahead of him. By the 70s, Bethlehem's downtown was declining.
I remember when I was very small, this junkyard right in the middle of downtown, and I knew I was not allowed to go anywhere near that.
Well, Bethlehem was not the thriving city back in those days. Allentown was. If you really wanted to do something, you went to Allentown. You went to Hess's, Solinger's. I mean, they just had everything. We had very little or nothing.
Embassy Bank CEO David Lobach remembers Bethlehem's struggles. In 1971, his first job with First Valley Bank was on Main Street.
Bethlehem wanted to look like Allentown. A lot of our community leaders were looking to get a lead department store into downtown Bethlehem,
spent a lot of time working on that. They built the downtown mall, closed off the street by the Boy Theater, and thought that if they would build it, it would come, but it never came.
Dave says that's a good thing.
I believe that Bethlehem is so successful today because it failed to look like Allentown and Easton back in the 70s.
Maurer and other community leaders thought the city could capitalize on its unique history.
We hired a planner that was historically oriented, and they brought in National Heritage Corporation, and they put a design together for people to restore their buildings on the outside. And then we brought in the Victorian lamps, and Bethlehem soon became the most charming city in the Lehigh Valley.
You see a lot of single-family houses. You see a lot of houses that have significant historical value. You have houses that probably range from a few $100,000 to over $1 million in downtown Bethlehem. These houses haven't converted from single-family to multi-family housing, and I think that was one of the benefits, the saviors of downtown Bethlehem.
The development of the Main Street, Broad and Main area became a model for cities all over the country. Very, very successful.
Glenn Cransley worked at the Bethlehem Globe-Times during Maurer's administration. Today, Glenn is the vice president and editor of the Morning Call's opinion pages. He remembers the first layoffs at Bethlehem Steel.
This was a shock in the late 70s regarding Bethlehem Steel. So you had people, in some cases, literally being carried out of the offices because they were so stricken and crying, and in some cases even hysterical. It was a horrible time.
Bethlehem Steel took a downturn, but other businessmen were looking to the future, developing industrial parks to diversify the city's economy.
The industrial parks made all the difference, and particularly Lehigh Valley Industrial Park 1. It was created by a group of leaders, some of them Bethlehem Steel people, including the Chamber of Commerce, who understood that there would come a time when the Lehigh Valley would need a diversity of businesses.
The impact of LVIP on this community has been marvelous. The parks are well designed, they're set up well, there's diversity, there's different incomes. I think it's one of the greatest things that's happened to Bethlehem.
Lehigh Valley's industrial parks have grown to include 6 locations, with a 7th in the works. Right now, over 400 businesses call LVIP home. The industrial parks helped Bethlehem survive the demise of steel. But another event helped lift people's spirits during this time. The city returned to its musical roots in the 1980s. As tourism chairman for the Chamber of Commerce at the time, Jeff Parks developed an idea for a music festival, now known as Music Fest.
At that time, 24% of Americans claimed German heritage, so that was also kind of behind it, that people with German heritage might consider visiting Bethlehem as a tourism attraction.
The first Music Fest kicked off in August of 1984, with 118 performers entertaining folks on 6 stages. Around 182,000 people attended that first year. Today, Music Fest is a 10-day event, attracting more than 1 million to sample great music and food. Of the more than 500 performances that captivate the crowds these days, only 28 require tickets.
I moved to Fort Lauderdale, Florida about 20 years ago, and I come back for this event every year to see family, friends, and just polka dance.
I love the music up here. So many different choices.
We mainly come up for the music, but also the food and just the town and just seeing everything that's here. It's a great experience.
The festival relies on an army of about 2,000 volunteers. Elsie Probula believes in volunteering. And this afternoon, Elsie heads outdoors to Music Fest ticket booth number 1. She's been working that booth for more than 20 years.
Hello, Louise.
Hi.
How are you?
Hey, how are you?
I'm doing good.
I want $25.
Okay.
When Elsie's not handing out food tickets, she's handing out cookies.
Good afternoon, ladies. We have lemon crisp cookies today.
Oh, let me see.
I bake cookies every day. I've done that for 23 years, and everybody stops by. What did you bake today?
Volunteers like Elsie and support from community businesses help Music Fest succeed.
The key to success in nonprofit endeavors is partnerships. We partner with 60 nonprofit organizations,
And we have over 150 business corporations and entities that support the festival in one way or the other.
Music Fest develops lasting memories for many people. But the event also generates a lot of business. Music Fest brings in over $30 million to the local economy each year. But music is just one small piece of our economy. The city relies on many small businesses. The Ben Franklin Technology Partners helps some of the high-tech ones get started. Located on Lehigh's campus, it supports early-stage businesses as well as established manufacturers in the area with the hope that they'll grow and create jobs. Since 1983, the group has helped 353 new companies develop 647 new products while creating nearly 11,000 jobs. Today, about 30 former Ben Franklin clients conduct business within Bethlehem city limits. OraSure is one of the shining stars. This biotech company's headquarters is housed on Bethlehem's south side. Entrepreneurs Mike Gosling, Bill Hinchy, and Sam Needballa started their business back in 1987 with help from the program.
Not only did they give us a place to call home on this beautiful campus at Lehigh, which used to be Bethlehem Steel's research facility, they gave us startup capital.
Ben Franklin invested $232,000, but Mike says the community backed them too.
You had a loyal group of people taking risk with us, and it was just only logical for us to continue to stay here, to grow it here, and then after, much years later, to give back to the community, much like other people did for us.
Today, the company has about $69 million in revenue and employs more than 200 people. Its premier product is OraQuick, a rapid one-step oral HIV test.
You collect an oral fluid sample, and 20 minutes later, you'd have a result that was just as accurate as a lab test. And then that was the product that, it's got the most notoriety and has the most potential for substantial impact, literally on a global basis.
Mike retired from OraSure in 2004, but after some time off, he's back in business. His new plan, convert this old firehouse into the new home for Originate Ventures, a venture capital fund.
I'll be starting a small private equity fund where I intend to raise $20 million to make early-stage investments in growth-oriented businesses in Northeast Pennsylvania. The South Side's a vibrant place, and it comes from people coming at it from different business and socioeconomic angles, but all committed to seeing growth happen in Bethlehem.
These are the types of things current Bethlehem Mayor John Callahan likes to see. He works hard to keep the city moving forward.
It never ceases to amaze me, the spirit that we have in this community. And it's something that's almost palatable. It's tangible. You can almost touch it.
John grew up in the city, attended Liberty High, and graduated from Moravian College. He married his high school sweetheart, Mafalda. Today they have 3 children, and Sand Island is one of their favorite places to relax.
My wife and I both understood, having grown up in Bethlehem, was what a great place this area is to live and to raise a family. So we look forward to doing that once we got to the point where, we were going to have some kids of our own.
Others are realizing Bethlehem's benefits, too. In 2006, Money Magazine named the city one of the top 100 most livable places in America.
Who would have imagined 15 years ago with the demise of steel that we'd be on such a list?
And today our success is based on our historic value. Our history, who we were, is who we are.
So much of its past is so well preserved, and you feel like you're walking around in it. It's a very comfortable kind of slice of Americana.
Bethlehem is the only place in America where you can look and see today the remains of a vibrant 18th century industrial economy, a 19th century industrial revolution economy, and a mature international industrial economy in the 20th century. This is the only place where you have that overlay.
Bethlehem's history invites guests to visit. But what's on tap for the future? The partnership between Las Vegas Sands Corporation and BethWorks Now, the group led by Newmark Knight Frank CEO Barry Gosson. They plan to develop 126 acres of former steel land in the heart of South Bethlehem, driven by a casino with 5,000 slot machines. The first phase of the project is estimated at upwards of $600 million. They call it a destination, complete with condos, a 300-room hotel, conference center, dozens of upscale restaurants, and high-end retail outlet shops.
If we help the National Industrial Heritage Museum in their quest to bring attention to those buildings and renovate those buildings so that a visitor to the site will get a sense of the history and the heritage of what was Bethlehem steel.
We think that this is unprecedented. There is no project this large, this extensive, on a brownfield with historic buildings that can be compared to Bethlehem Steel.
It also includes plans to develop steel stacks, a performing arts and broadcast center that will be the future home of PBS 39.
Taking a steel plant that's shut down and enlivening it, activating it, if you will, with the arts, culture, broadcasting is such a dynamic combination.
And we look forward to opening our first building at the National Museum of Industrial History with our partner, the Smithsonian Institution. We will have a key feature of the 1876 exhibit, which will bring 19th century artifacts from the Smithsonian to Bethlehem and be a key feature of the beginning of the story of building America.
This is going to be a unique situation in Pennsylvania, and where a casino will provide the economic engine to take what's an important historic landmark for a town like Bethlehem and make it into something.
But the slots parlor has its outspoken critics who fear gambling will compromise the traditions of hardworking steel workers and the religious beliefs of Moravians.
I'm a Moravian pastor, so I'm not for gambling, but people have felt that we're going to do this, and I'm going to cooperate. We're going to make it the best we can.
We're focused on exceeding the community's expectation about how we deal with the heritage and what Bethlehem Steel meant to the heart of Bethlehem.
Most city officials back the plan, including Mayor Callahan.
It's going to have an impact, but I don't think it's going to change what Bethlehem's core values and what our core being is. And I think that our community is going to be able to not only sustain it, but increase our quality of life as time goes on.
Only time will tell how gaming affects the city. But business leaders like Mike Gosling think Bethlehem is on the right track.
There are multiple engines and drivers that can make this a vibrant community. And we just don't know what the future will look like or what the mix will be that's success. But there are a lot of things that are in motion that can all contribute to the success of this community for years and years to come.
But today, people love the Christmas city for what it already offers.
Main Street USA today is Bethlehem.
There's a warmth in the city about the people who live here. There is a respect for people of all backgrounds.
Its long-standing traditions and attention to history set Bethlehem apart from other cities. But it's the people who make the difference in this rapidly changing community.
We hope you've enjoyed Communities Bethlehem. We're here in the studios of PBS 39, coming to you for the final time this evening to give you a great opportunity to make sure that Communities Bethlehem is a part of your video library at home. When you call in your pledge of financial support, we have great ways to say thank you, and we would love to hear those phones ring. We have a goal that we're hoping to hit this break, and we need everyone out there who enjoyed the program to give us a call right now.
That's right. If you call us and your pledge of support of $75 gets you a copy of the program you just enjoyed, Communities Bethlehem. Again, your pledge of $75 and you get a DVD. And we also have these DVDs in-house, so you will get these as soon as possible. We'll process it and get it right out to you, so there's no delay in that.
And that's something exciting because, you know, if you're excited about watching it in its entirety from beginning to end without any interruptions, this is the way to do it. And we'll get it home to you very quickly at your house. And at that $75 pledge level, that's a commitment on an annual basis. And $75 over a year breaks down to just pennies a day.
It definitely does. And we have some other options for you, too. Of your pledge of support of $100, not only do you get the DVD, you also get a wonderful tile that has been made for us by Starbuck Goldner Tile. It's a really nice piece to have. And again, they made it here specially for us. It's a limited edition, and we have a limited amount also. So the sooner you're called, the better your chances are to get that wonderful tile. That's at your $100 level.
And you can't buy that anywhere else. I mean, there are places in town that sell this type of tile, but they don't sell this particular tile. So this is exclusive to PBS 39, and we're hoping that you'll call in your pledge of financial support and take advantage of this special item as well.
Yes, and we also have another level for you, $150. You get a copy of the program, Communities Bethlehem. Also, if you don't have Bethlehem Steel yet, that Emmy Award-winning documentary, here's a chance to get that as well, and the tile, all three of them for you. And then if you also like Communities Bethlehem doubly good, you can get 2 copies of that.
Instead of the Bethlehem Steel, get yourself 2 copies of Community Bethlehem. In case you have a friend that you think might want to enjoy that as well, there's your opportunity, and of course the tile's included too.
Now, for those of you who plan ahead, Mother's Day is right around the corner, and it could be a great opportunity if you're adding this to your collection at home, renewing your membership here to PBS 39. You'll get your copy, your special copy for yourself, and give one to dear old Mom. What a great opportunity, and have Mother's Day taken care of way in advance. We try to think of everything, and we want to make it as easy as possible, because PBS 39 is so excited about every year, every March, we come into your home and we bring you another part of preserving the living history of our region. We've been doing it now for 8 years, and we're very excited that you have called in your pledge of financial support in the past, and that's how this program is possible. Our wonderful corporate sponsors, as well as our individual, one family, one person at a time, makes such a huge difference, because this money goes into the production budget. It's the programming department for programs. So this is where your money goes, so that we can go out and this time next year, we should be watching Communities Allentown.
That's right. We have our meeting on Tuesday morning, right, Amy? So we continue to work hard for these documentaries to keep the production level up at the highest level possible. Also being able to get wonderful people to voice, like Charles Osgood. He donated his time and his voice to this documentary. So another great way to partner, more partners, just examples of how far-reaching they are. Charles Osgood is such a wonderful person to have his voice on this documentary. And he knew how important it is to preserve the history, and that he wanted to lend his voice to this program.
And he also said he wanted to come back and visit Bethlehem, which is something that is so special. If you saw the beginning of the program, you know one of the exciting things about Bethlehem is it's home of many of America's firsts. What a sense of pride. Aaron and I both talk about the fact that we're transplants to this region, but we're so proud to be a part of it, because the rich history that we have, the first girls' school, the first time water went into anybody's home happened because of Bethlehem. The Moravian bookshop, what a wonderful icon. The first bookshop in America, the first apothecary, drugstore. So many different things. The largest collection of Germanic-style buildings existing in the U.S. is Bethlehem, not, as some people might think, Williamsburg, Virginia.
Exactly. And what I think was great, too, in this documentary, we had great photographers that were able to go out and capture beautiful shots of these wonderful structures and just be able to incorporate it in the documentary. And so not only are you able to learn these wonderful facts, you get to really see the beautiful things that Bethlehem has to offer.
Now, you know, it's not easy to take 50 hours worth of footage that we acquired throughout the last year and turn it into 1 hour. But we wanted to boil it down to the essence of Bethlehem. And the essence of Bethlehem is it's all about the people. It's all about the rich heritage. It's all about the hard-working people who not only built a great town, hardy people built Bethlehem Steel, which helped build America.
Right.
So many special people. It was nice to see that all the different churches, and when the ethnicities came in to work at Bethlehem Steel, they each created their own church so that their heritage could be kept and preserved and remain special. And I know you spent a lot of time in the fall at those different churches. It was nice to hear those stories.
It was so great. And even Helen Maurer, who is in the documentary,
I love her.
She is great. She's fabulous. And those people also, everyone I met at the churches were great and so welcoming, just as they were welcomed when they, came over to this wonderful country. They welcomed us as well. And as we talk about the architecture, and I mentioned this before, the churches are beautiful. And the stained glass. Yes, and they're so proud of their churches, and as well they should be. And that's a great thing on the South Side, that I think that you have that diversity, and it's great to be able to share it too, and let people know that exists.
Do you share that sense of pride in Bethlehem? Whether you live here, work here, or play here, it's something very special and very unique. If you spend any time in this community at all, you know that you can feel that sense of hard-workingness, of working together, of caring about your neighbor. I mean, it's a lot of that Moravian heritage still exists, that we care about each other, and that we want to take care of each other, and that we want to preserve the great history, because we have quite a legacy to pass on to our children. And we do that through talking about it. We do that through preserving it in a program like this. You know, PBS 39 is the only media entity in eastern Pennsylvania and western New Jersey that is committed the resources, the financial resources, the human resources to preserve our heritage. We're proud to do it. We will see it as our mission, being a part of public television and PBS 39. But we can't do it without you. We so need to hear from you right now so that we can keep up this wonderful legacy. We are very grateful that our documentaries have been honored with regional Emmys, with Pennsylvania Association of Broadcasters Awards, with an Edward R. Murrow Award. We're very proud of that. And we continue to put our hearts and souls into it to have the highest quality production value that we can actually make happen in the time restraints that we have to get this program done. We do our very best every day. Thank you, thank you, thank you. We've heard the phones ring, and we're so very grateful. If you're still with us after watching the program, or if you just caught a glimpse of it and you enjoyed the last part, well, give us a call so that you can get your copy to have at home, to watch from beginning to end at any time you want. Let's run over those levels again, Aaron.
That's right. As you see on your screen right now, for $75, your pledge of support gets you a copy of the DVD, gets you a DVD of the program Communities Bethlehem. Your pledge of support of $100 gets you the DVD and this tile, which is exclusive here to PBS 39. You can't get it anywhere else from Starbuck Goldner Tile. They made this for us, and so this is also a part of that $100 level when you pledge your support there.
Also at the $150 level, now here's one for you. You'll get the program you're watching right now, but perhaps you don't have a copy of Bethlehem Steel, The People Who Built America, which it was our Emmy Award-winning program a few years back. It's a great companion program to this, and it was narrated by our friend Harry Smith of CBS's early show. So we're very grateful to have his voice on that. Perhaps you've worn out the copy that you had, as it was several years ago, and you want one to give to a friend. That $150 level gets you both programs, plus the commemorative tile, exclusive here at PBS 39. You can't buy it anywhere. This Communities Bethlehem program is only available at PBS 39. It's a great opportunity for you. But also at that $150 level, perhaps you just need two Communities Bethlehems, because you know exactly what you're going to do with that other one. Could be your brother, could be your sister, could be an early Mother's Day gift. How about, let's not forget about our dads. June will be here.
Yep, before you know it. Yeah, so we want to thank everyone that has called in this evening. Also, if you've gone onto our website, WLVT.org, you can still do so. But we want to thank also our volunteers that are in our studios tonight answering the phones from the Lehigh Valley Visitor and Convention Bureau. Did I get that right?
Our friends, they're great people under the direction of Mike Stershik at the Lehigh Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau. We're so excited that they are one of the underwriters of this program. They put the seed money out a year ago. They were the first place I stopped and asked for their support. They volunteered it willingly and are very excited. This program will run on all 8 public television stations across the Commonwealth, and we're delighted about that. And thanks to Lehigh Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau, we're able to make that happen. Just a few more moments, and this is your final opportunity this evening to receive these great thank you gifts. We do need to hear from you. Please give us a call right now. Thank you so much for that phone call. It is music to our ears, because Aaron and I both, as well as the rest of the folks of this production team, worked very hard. I want to mention them now. Eric Warner, photojournalist, as well as Andrew Brett, Melissa Leffel, and our editor, Rich Lockridge. So excited that the team worked very hard to make this happen, and I'm so proud of them. I'm so delighted to have the opportunity to lead the local production department. Aaron Porter, heart and soul into this as the producer. We're also grateful for the folks who fed our volunteers this evening, right?
That's right, we are. We want to say thank you to the Black Forest Deli, who are one of Lehigh Valley's premium caterers. They specialize in gourmet wraps, paninis, salads, and fresh homemade soups. Free delivery with every order, and they are located at 7th Avenue and Union Boulevard. That's the Black Forest Deli, so we want to thank them.
You can't forget thanking everyone. We mentioned the Lehigh Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau, as well as the Pennsylvania Public Television Network, St. Luke's Hospital and Health Network, Albarell Electric, Moravian College, our good friends at Newmark Knight Frank in Manhattan. So many people. It took everyone. It took everyone's help. Partnerships is what we're all about here at PBS 39. Those corporate sponsors and individual sponsors such as yourself can help us do great things, and I'm so delighted and so very proud to be a part of this production department and have the opportunity to lead these wonderfully talented people toward making great local programs. From all of us at PBS 39, thank you for making our latest documentary a success. Communities Bethlehem is our gift to you. Operators will be standing by if you'd like to call in your pledge of financial support. We'll make sure that you get one of these in the mail very quickly. Good night.
Communities Bethlehem is made possible by the Lehigh Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau, promoting the Lehigh Valley as a destination for visitors, meetings, conventions, family reunions, and groups for more than 20 years. The Lehigh Valley Convention and Visitors Bureau is proud to support PBS 39 and by a grant from the Pennsylvania Public Television Network. The network receives funding from the Commonwealth to provide public television for all Pennsylvanians and by the members of PBS 39. Thank you.
Bethlehem, Pennsylvania. This is a great city stretching its economic muscles with determined vigor. Bethlehem is one of the fastest growing cities in this Commonwealth. It's big in stature. Known as the Christmas city, its inspiration flows both out and in. 80,000 people live in Bethlehem. Most of them prosper. We think that tomorrow's Bethlehem may well become a model for the tomorrow of all America.
This program is brought to you by the members of PBS 39 and by
Newmark Knight Frank, global real estate advisors dedicated to providing full-service, comprehensive real estate solutions to corporations, property owners, investors, and developers across the globe. Newmark Knight Frank.
When you're sick, you find out fast what really matters. My Health matters. My hospital has the answers. St. Luke's. My Health, my hospital.
Proud sponsor of Communities Bethlehem.
Alvarell Electric is a proud supporter of PBS 39, celebrating the past, present, and future of Bethlehem, providing quality electrical construction, service, and electrical motor repair to the greater Lehigh Valley for over 70 years. A proud sponsor of PBS 39, Moravian College is committed to delivering a values-based liberal arts education that draws on the Moravian traditions of community, engagement in the world, and balance among body, mind, and spirit in the life of the individual. Next on PBS 39. This program is brought to you by the members of PBS 39 and by
DirecTV has been a big part of the educational process in our family. The type of shows that DirecTV puts on air now are so different from what it was many years ago.
It's not just sit in front of the TV, watch something. It gives them the opportunity to learn.
You can't get anything in this world without an education. It needs to start from infancy. My kids are learning shapes, colors, numbers, sign language. You have your little preschool right at home.
It makes us better parents.
DirecTV, a world of learning in your home.
With respect and appreciation for future generations, Wright Veterinary Center provides complete health care for your family's cats, dogs, birds, and other pets. Wright Veterinary Medical Center is a proud supporter of PBS Channel 39.
Lehigh Cement Company. Since 1897, Lehigh Cement Company